thing is supposed to be 18 pages, by the way, contract, but it's supposed to be done and reviewed and responded and changed and all that by the next morning. When you had it for weeks,
Tonight, just waiting for my committee members. No rush.
We apologize.
I'm not on the committee, but I'm here.
yeah. And it's crazy how people seem to think that you just, when they don't, other than them calling you, you just sitting at your desk twiddling your thumbs, waiting on them.
I read the packet though.
Good afternoon. It's 3:02 on Tuesday, November 5th, 2025. I'd like to call the Strategic Planning Ad Hoc Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Pugh,
I'm here, ma'am.
Little,
Present.
Livingston,
Present.
Cooper,
Here.
Mackey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next is our approval of minutes from March 25th, 2025.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion is second for approval of the minutes. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Pugh,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Next is the adoption of the agenda. Administrator Brown, do we have any changes to the agenda this afternoon?
I've received no recommended changes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval, adoption of the agenda. Madam Clerk?
Pugh,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, before we get to item 4, which is items for discussion and action, I would like to recognize our council members that are joining us online this afternoon. We have Councilwoman Allison Terratio, as well as Councilwoman English. Thank you so much for joining us. And then I see Councilman Don Weaver joining us as well. Thank you, Mr. Weaver.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll get started. ACA Thomas, there you are, I couldn't see you. You're recognized for item 4A, review of the quarterly report.
Thank you, Madam Chair and council members. We appreciate your time this afternoon. The first item on our agenda, just as a presentation for you all to review at your leisure of our quarterly leadership report. That's on pages 8 through 38. You'll notice in this report, we're moving to a format where there's lots of graphics embedded in the report that make it much easier for the public to be able to see how we're progressing. We're at 64% progress in our total strategic plan at this point and making progress daily. On some of the financials, you'll notice that we're still posting FY24 results, and that's because our audit will not be completed until December of this year. And at that time, you'll start to see those start to tick up with your FY25 numbers. One other thing that I will point out is that we are migrating more and more items to the graphic format, and these are being done on a regular basis. So I would encourage the public, if they'd like to see this, to go to our website, in the search bar, search for strategic plan, and it will take them to this report at any point in time that they'd like to see it. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Yes, thank you, ACA Thomas. Just as a reminder, this information in the quarterly report is available to the public on our website. It's under our dashboard where we keep all of this information available with stats in each of our goals and where we are in achieving those initiatives. Are there any questions that staff has, that council has for staff? All right, I think we're good.
Thank you, Madam
And
Chair.
we will continue to provide this quarterly report in the Strategic Planning Ad Hoc Committee for those that do have questions in the future. Next item is 4B, which is the recommended strategic plan refresh. For those of our committee members as well as my council members, we did just last month host our work session to do a refresh of our strategic plan. This was just really out of best practices, but also out of feedback that we heard from council members. This plan itself had approached the 3-year mark, and most of them, when you look at strategic plans, you want to do a refresh. But also, we've had new council members join the body and wanted to make sure they had a chance to participate in providing any feedback to this document. And so thank you all for joining and actively participating in that work session, and also the phone calls that you had with our consultant to provide feedback. It was greatly appreciated, and we are on track to develop an updated document. So I thank you all, because that took everyone's participation to make sure we remained on schedule. And so now I wanted us to really just walk through the results of that work session and then discuss our path forward. And so at this time, I'm going to turn it over, I assume we're turning it over to Baker Tilly. All right, I'm turning it over to our consultants, Baker Tilly.
Good afternoon. Thank you, everyone, council members, for joining us. ACA Thomas, we spoke earlier today, and I believe you offered to make a few quick remarks before we jump into some of the specifics. Happy to jump into more details if you prefer I do that at this time.
Woody, I'll let you just go ahead and begin your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen then. And you should have received this document. Let me go ahead and share my current window. Are you all able to see my current screen?
Yes.
Okay. For every strategic planning document, there's really a few key areas that you'll want to look for the changes. And so what we did was capture in our report from the workshop the areas that didn't change but are still very much a part of your strategic plan that was created in 2022, and then those areas that we recommended changes for and what those changes look like. With regard to the current strategic plan and the updates, just as a new refresh to the current document, your vision, mission, and values, if you recall from our workshop, won't have changed at all. And so we highlighted that in your updated report. So you won't have any, you won't see anything different from those that came out of the workshop. We just refreshed our recollection of those back in early October. With regard to the actual goals themselves, this is where we spent the bulk of the workshop discussing. And in the draft format currently, there are some changes to each of the goals themselves, but I want to highlight that there's really two things that we focused on. One was the changes to align language to be more appropriate to 2025 and what the current council's aspirations are. So just minor verbiage changes that may have some impact to an existing initiative or how you're tracking that goal, but not a substantial overall change. And then we tried limiting any large scale changes. I really only noted that goals 1 and 6, for instance, there were significant changes to those goals, but even those won't have a large impact on how you're executing those goals, because the spirit of the goals has stayed relatively the same. If you see page 12 of this report, this is where the updated goals we recommend for the remainder of the current strategic plan are. And then what I'd like to do is just walk through what some of the changes we made to by goal are. And I'm curious in any council members' questions or discussion. We shared a red line version over that compared the previous goal, those objectives underneath that goal.
Woody, can you hold just 1 minute? I'll make sure we're on the same page. So just to make sure everyone is, we're starting on page 7 of the document that was provided under separate cover. Yes, you're welcome. All right, Woody, carry on.
Okay, thank you. If we are on page 7, then we'll see this is where goal number 1 starts. And this is the only goal where the title changed of the goal because, like I mentioned, there's a more substantial change on this goal specifically. We were previously calling this goal foster good governance, but because we moved that governance and accountability element to be all in one place in goal number 6, this new goal is focused on how is the county maintaining its strategic focus. There are 4 objectives underneath that goal, and they're very similar to the previous goals that were there before. If you recall, our main hope for this one was just to get a little bit more alignment on the title and the goals underneath that title, just for transparency, but also for readability. 2 of those goals that were previously listed here will have moved to other goals, so there's no substantial change there. And then the ones that stayed, we made minor verbiage changes. So your current goal number 1 reads, develop and monitor realistic and achievable goals, KPIs, and actions from the strategic plan, create a shared long-range vision with agreement by county leadership, and reevaluate a strategic plan and adjust at various frequency intervals. Lastly, create and monitor and update reporting dashboard. So again, this is the goals that we would recommend if you're trying to maintain that strategic focus, and this will help drive the plan itself. A lot of this is already occurring, and there's significant progress already being made across this goal. I'm going to go ahead and move forward into goal number 2 to just talk through some of the changes that we see here. There aren't many changes in goal number 2. The focus here again is investing in economic development. The changes we made to the existing goals are to add focusing on key areas for creating jobs for 2.1. 2.2, council is interested in clarifying more of the amenities and a kind of market holistic approach to this goal rather than just the shopping and amenities language that was there in 2.2 before. And then if I look at 2.3 and 2.4, where we had before promoting and supporting regional and state economic development teams, we now are saying to promote and support regional and state economic development teams and target key industries. Again, more emphasis on this just being particular or more calling more out what it is we're trying to accomplish here. And then there's also this new element of promoting and supporting county small businesses, entrepreneurship, recreation, tourism, and industry growth. So this was a new objective that was not there before. Moving forward to goal number 3, again, not many changes here. The only substantial change would have just been this 3.4. Other changes here are just 3.2. We say to establish processes and prioritize initiatives and maximize efficiency. Council is interested in calling out that efficiency piece. 3.3, making sure we're calling out aligning with fiscal policies to clarify what was before minimum thresholds. And 3.4, identifying alternative revenue sources for county operations. This was a new objective that was called out here. Moving forward again into goal number 4, plan for growth through inclusive and equitable infrastructure, the growth-focused goal. The changes here include to add language calling out the specific infrastructures that we'd like to mention for coordinating in light of that growth in 4.2. 4.3 and 4.4, there are slight changes as well. Create and maintain excellent county facilities that support current and future employees and constituent needs. That was an emphasis by council at the workshop to call out that constituent needs and the current and future elements. And then 4.4, we're interested in exploring policies to address ongoing housing supply and affordability. We replace current language there for 4.4. Goal number 5, we say achieve positive public engagement. There aren't many changes for this goal. Or champion county initiatives and program successes through public engagement and communication. That is a change for 5.1. Other than that, we added a new objective here that was focused on developing a plan for effective intergovernment collaboration, opportunities, and strategic cooperation. And again, the goal here is to achieve positive public engagement. There was a good amount of conversation about where to place this intergovernment collaboration. And what we thought made the most sense is along the lines of this positive public engagement and transparency-based goal. So that is, this is moving from a previous goal here. Lastly, in goal number 5, again, pulling some elements from goal number 1 here and trying to capture the conversation around operational excellence and accountability. The new goal here is focusing on 1, establishing competitive employee compensation, encouraging investment in employee county professional development. 6.3 is modernizing employee technology as well as policies and procedures, ensuring employees have necessary resources, and the culture for a high desirable workplace. 6.4 now would be develop metrics of accountability, culture, and ethics for the county to achieve and maintain excellence. And 6.5, lastly, define and develop a plan to ensure commitment to service excellence and reasonable access to services for all citizens. So if we look at these 5 goals for goal number 6, this goal was changed substantially because of that overlap we saw in a lot of goal number 1. We think these new changes will be easier to monitor, track, and implement, and aren't actually much of a deviation from your previous goal. It's just clarifying the language there so that when you go into goal to late 27 for your new strategic plan, this is the language that you'll be working on, as well as the work that's been done on this goal to date. And council members, if you look at page 12, again, this is just the verbiage for your snapshot for the strategic plan if you adopt these changes. And we're interested in any of your thoughts, comments, questions.
Thank you so much, Woody, for walking through those for us. I'll open it up to my committee and other council members that are present as well, if there's any additional questions or thoughts. But again, page 12 is the new, refreshed kind of update language all on one sheet, if that's easier for folks to view, instead of flipping on back and forth. Councilman Weaver?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I do like to see in number 3, I think that was the addition that I mentioned to Mr. Brown. Thank you for calling me Mr. Brown when I couldn't be there for October 4th. But that maximize efficiency, I'll take ownership of that. Thank you very much. But one thing I would like to see is, this is probably more of a staff issue. I asked Mr. Brown, working with the consultant, could we identify like just one page of savings that have been done in the last year? Something like, like we were talking about rebidding out the vehicle contract and some of these things, like, because when all of us go out and speak to these community groups, it would be nice to say, hey, yeah, your taxes may have gone up a little bit last year, but here's 6 ways that we saved taxpayers money from whatever it was, competitive bidding or what have you.
Yeah, and I will say he did mention that. It was brought up. It's not necessarily reflective in the strategic plan itself, but that is an action of the plan. So it is something that we'll do and that he can provide or staff will provide that will help say we achieved this goal in here as it relates to, maximizing efficiency and identifying alternative revenue sources. They're going to start compiling that now, and then it'll be a part of the dashboard to show how we accomplished it.
Okay,
Yes.
very good.
So you were heard.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right, Woody, was there anything else you wanted to discuss with this document before I move forward?
No, council member, I just wanted to highlight that, like we mentioned from the workshop, a lot of thought went into how do we capture what council members are interested in. The conversation that we had, which we felt was pretty robust in early October, and reflect that in a way that's not disruptive to your current plan, since this is just a plan update. And what we're looking forward to is being able to move into adoption of the changes to the plan. And that way you can hit the ground running in early 2026 to execute on the remainder of the strategic plan with this new refreshed direction, and building on the great work that's already been done on the strategic plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, just as a reminder, and kind of to reiterate what Woody stated, this was part of our process to do the refresh, to talk about it in committee. And if the committee is good, then we would make a recommendation to move this updated, strategic goals on page 12, to move that forward to the full body for a final vote. With this refresh and update, once it passes full council, then we will see an update in our dashboard online and those initiatives and how we track, and staff will work to make sure that we're creating the new initiatives that match some of the goals that we've added. For example, Councilman Weaver's addition about being able to highlight the fiscal efficiencies. We'll create an initiative for that, and you will start seeing the tracking of that as well. So the goal is to get this approved so that when we start in January with our strategic planning forum, we'll have this updated, refreshed document to begin our new year with. So if there's no other questions, concern, or discussions, I'll entertain a motion to send this document, to approve this document and send it to full council.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second for approval of the updated document. Any discussion?
Just like to say, I think most of what we discussed been captured very well.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Livingston,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. ACA Thomas, was there anything else? No, okay. Administrator Brown, was there anything else you had?
No, ma'am.
Awesome. So we're at item number 5.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second for adjournment. Madam Clerk?
Pugh,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Livingston.
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion approved.